talking?
Like 2 hours.
I don't know. Did we actually get to the things that we wanted to talk about?
Well, that's the beauty of curiosity.
We talked about traffic. We talked about John Mayer.
Yeah.
You know,
most importantly,
you were in a Thai prison for a period of time.
Oh shit. I don't think I've talked about that on another podcast. You guys might get the first break here.
yeah.
I mean, like,
No, I have talked about it on the podcast. I'm lying, but yeah, I think I was.
and so like, I just want like, there's like how you got in, how you got out, like what you learned, and
Oh, dude, this might be a part 2.
yeah.
This might, but I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna dive in. Maybe not a part 2. But
Take us there, man. Like
Holy shit.
we can split this into 2 episodes easy.
Okay. Yeah, pretty easy at this point, I think. So Thai drug prison, man. All right, so I had taken a break and come back home to attend a music festival that one of my good friends had organized and put on, and a pretty big. It is kind of a controversial thing. I don't want to get canceled by exposing my affiliations. I'm kidding. I love you. You know who you are. Like I came back and still in my haze, right? Still, you know, I came back for a month or 2, wanted to take a break, but dude, I found some wild drugs that summer. Like, did a whole lot of acid, did some dischloroketamine. Do you guys know what that is? Holy shit.
You know, I'm not super in tune with the drug culture.
So
I'm
a
learning
chemical
so
engineer,
much
so usually the chemistry I've like heard of. But like,
I am learning
put it
so much
together
today.
that
It's fascinating.
ketamine, dischloroketamine is the chlorine molecule removed, right? And
Yeah.
it creates this super drug, really, that at the time was legal in Lithuania, and it was all over the dark web and stuff, and you could get it for stupid cheap, right? And then it became understood what it was, and now it's like stupid expensive, super highly illegal, right? It's like, but it sends you on this like 6-hour hyper creative like trip thing, you know? Anyways, I spent a whole summer and fall doing a lot of that and LSD and mushrooms and drinking and just partying my ass off, taking a break from fighting, right? Well, I get this idea at the end of this music festival that I'm gonna pitch his music festival to Thailand. We're gonna do this music festival in Thailand. You know? And because I had connections, I had friends in high places there, and you know, we're gonna go there and we're gonna pitch it. And because what did I do every weekend in Thailand? If I wasn't training for a fight, even when I was training for a fight, what was I doing? I was going to music festivals, getting paid to party with people as their bodyguard, basically. Like, I would, you know, security for my friends.
Yeah.
And they would pay me to go to the music festivals. But, dude, I was just like, what the hell? They love this stuff here.
Yeah.
It's every weekend. There's a music festival. There's an EDM festival. There's something going on every weekend in Thailand, just about at that time. So, and I told him about it, and I'm like, dude, I'm connected to this guy. He runs this thing, and they've got it. They're like, well, he's one of the biggest there. We could partner, yada yada yada. He's like, yeah, let's do it. Go over there. Take one of my people and go over there, right? Well, I go over there and take this person, and we do more drugs, and you know, and sure enough, the person I was with, completely like Thailand. It's Yakuza style, you know, like if you understand that. Just saying that Yakuza, that's Japanese culture, completely different than Thai culture. But my point is like in a lot of Asian cultures, it's you sit with the families and everybody has dinner and food and stuff, and you don't talk business. You don't talk business until the families leave, and then it's whoever's actually important to the business conversation is still at the table. That's just typical. So I tell this person, I'm like, hey, you can't go in here and act like your boss. And you can't come in here and act like you normally do in business conversations. Do you understand that? You know, and what did he do? He goes in and acts like normal, you know, and pisses off. My friend, who's one of my closest friends, texts me in the middle of the dinner.
Like, hey, this guy's offending everybody.
He's like,
here.
hey, dude, who is this joker you brought here? And what is he doing? Right? Creates a big fight. Or like the basically like when it's actually time to pitch, everybody leaves.
Wow.
Like everybody, the families get up, and guess what? the person that owns the production company and his funders and the business manager, production managers, everybody leaves with their families at the end of the dinner. And we go out, and my buddy texted me. He was like, "Yeah, dude, your boy just fucked this whole thing." Like, you know. And so we go outside and we get in this big fight. And I'm like, "Dude, I can't believe you just we argue and fight." And I'm like, "Dude, fuck you. I'm going out." And I hit some friends, and I went to the club that I used to work security at. Sugar, big hip hop club in Bangkok. If you've ever been to Bangkok and you are like, "I want to go to a hip hop club," there's one of 4 or 5, and this is the one on one of the main party streets, right? I used to work VIP security in there, and that's how I met a lot of interesting folk. So I go out, and same thing. I meet up with some people that I knew. These couple girls, Thai girls that I knew from working the bar. They're like, "Come hang out with us and this guy. We don't know him, but he's a foreigner here to party. Like, just make sure he's cool, I'm like, "All right, yeah, cool." Because they knew that, I'm protected by nature, and if you're a friend of mine, I'm going to make sure you're good.
Yeah.
Get to know this guy. He seems like a nice dude. He's cool. He's Swedish, like some in tech world or something. And night goes on. Clubs start shutting down around 4:35 a.m., and they're like, "Well, come back." He's like, "Come back to my hotel, and we'll hang out a little bit longer." And he's like, "Yeah, I got a penthouse, and I forgot which building it was. One of the tallest, one of the biggest, one of the biggest hotels." And like, "We'll come hang out." I'm like, "All right, yeah, cool, sounds cool." And I asked the girls, like, "Y'all cool with that? You want to go over there?" And they're like, "Yeah, let's do it. All right, cool, yeah, all right, fine." Get in the car. And I know this is a thing in Thailand. We're not even 5 minutes away from the club. Literally, the roads that lead out of the party areas
Sure.
have checkpoints.
Yeah.
It's just gonna happen. You know what I mean? It's just gonna. I knew that. Well, they pull us over, and they're like, they start asking us where they're going, and a cop recognizes me right away. He's like, "Oh, Nak Moy, Luchak Hon." He's like telling me, he's like, "I know you. You're a fighter." Like, Nak Moy is like fighter, right? Yeah. He's like, "I know you. You fight Mac Muay Thai. I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "You fight on Max?" I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, okay, Stan. Where you go?" "I don't know. Go party with them. I'm just, communicating with them."
Yeah.
and then they're talking, and they're asking everybody else, searching our wallets, searching our pockets, and then they're searching the car. And the cop comes back, and he's waving a joint of weed around. He's like, "Oh, look what we have here," being funny about it. And I'm like, "Oh, because I know what happens next." I mean, they want money, right? They want you to pay out.
Did y'all have that, or was that planted?
That's debatable.
Okay.
And for my reasonings of wanting to potentially go back to Thailand, I don't
Stay
know.
silent.
Okay.
I don't know how that joint got. It was probably mine.
Okay.
Yeah, it was mine. It was my joint of weed. Probably.
Okay. We can also edit that out if we need to.
Yeah. So
we'll go ahead and edit that out.
you don't have to. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's not like a unknown thing. It happens in the fucking United States of America that people get planted with drugs.
Sure.
Okay. I don't know if I got planted with drugs or not. I was kind of fucked up. It may have been my joint. Maybe. Probably.
In the guy's trunk.
Yeah. Well, so they ask everybody, like, "All right, so you sep ganja, nah? Like, means you smoke weed? You like marijuana? You smoke weed?" And I'm like, "I don't smoke, dude." And everybody's like, "I don't smoke." And then they walk back, and they're like, because the next thing is they take everybody to the cop station. Everybody has to piss test if nobody claims
Sort of admits to it. Okay.
Yeah. So that's Thai standard. Standard operating procedure. So we go to the police station, and on the way back, I'm like nudging the girl. I'm like, "Hey, do you smoke weed?" She's like, "Nah." And I asked the other girl, "Do you smoke weed?" She's like, "Nah." And I tapped the Swedish dude, and I'm like, "You smoke weed, right?" And he's like, "Nah." And I'm like, "Fuck." Because guess what I did right before I went to that club? Smoked weed. Guess who was the only one that tested positive for weed? Me. Naturally so. So, yeah, it could have been my joint. So I'm the one that they're like, "Okay, you're the one." And they set a price, ticket price, I'm going to call it a fine price of 100,000 baht, which is around $3,300 at the time. 3,000 to $3,500, somewhere around there, right? I don't have that,
Yeah.
you know? And I'm like, oh God, it's like 6 a.m. at this point. I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? So I start calling the person that I was in Thailand with, that I had just gotten in a fight with, which is the whole reason I went out to party anyways. I'm calling. I'm leaving voicemails. I'm like, hey, dude, I got in trouble. Like, the cops picked me up on some weed, some dumb shit. Look, I just need the money out of my bag. You know, like, yeah, I just need you. Somebody's going to come get that money, you know? Well, this was already after I had already called my gym boss. Basically, the guy that runs my gym that I fight for, who's also one of the largest promoters in the sport. His gym is known as one of the best in the world. He is a Muay Thai celebrity and runs the fucking sport, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, more or less. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a dude. I'm calling him at 6 a.m. He doesn't even know I'm in Thailand. He thinks I'm at home. He thinks I'm in the U.S. for another month.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Bot." He's like, "Sanzo, why are you calling me?" I'm like, "Bot, I'm in Tonglaw prison." Can you imagine me, like, calling this my gym boss at 6:30 in the morning? Like, I'm sorry, I'm in the police. You know, like, and he laughs at me. And he's like, "Let me talk to the police." Like, okay, so he gets on the phone with the police general, and they're laughing. He's looking at me, and they're laughing and shit, and talking and talking, and then he gives the phone back to me, and Bo picks up, and he's like, Sanzo, you have to give them 10,000 baht instead of
The 100,000.
100,000. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's about. I got $300 in my backpack. All right, cool. So that's when I started calling, calling my guy,
yeah.
right? Well, he freaks out, hears that I'm in jail, takes my money out of my backpack, and flies back home without me.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez.
Locked up abroad, all running through his head. He thinks some Thai mafia people are going to come get him. I don't know. No, he was just a piece of shit person and was like, oh, God. And, took off. So my friend, my Thai friend, I call my Thai friend. I'm like, dude, go to this hotel, and get my money and come back to the Tonglaw police station, please. And just get here as soon as you can. They're going to let me go. I just need to give them this money. Dude gets to the hotel, calls me. He's like, they won't let me in. I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, they said that your friend left. I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, your friend's gone. And I'm like, dude, let me talk to the lady. And she's like, they won't let me in the room. And I'm like, dude, let me talk to the lady. So I talk to the lady in Thai. I ask her politely. I say, look, this is my friend. Please let him in. I'm having a situation. I need him to go into my bag and get something, And they're like, she's like, you sure? Yeah. And I'm like, yes. And so he goes in and he's like, dude, there's no money in the bag. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, there's no money in the bag. I'm like, no. I was like, is there another suitcase there? Do you see nobody's in there? He's like, no, there's no suitcase here, and all your stuff is just left here.
Guy's just gone. He's just bailed.
Bailed. Left me. Just bailed. I'm like, oh, no. So I'm like, oh, God. And my friend's like, dude, don't worry. I'll bring you the money. Don't worry. I'll bring you the money, I'll bring you the money, and just pay me back, and we'll get you out. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm sitting there in a room like this with these cops all looking at me, waiting for this money to show up, and they're talking, bullshitting. And I'm sitting, and I'm like, can I make a phone call, I get this crazy idea that I'm an American citizen. I don't have to be taken advantage of like this. I could just call the U.S. Embassy. So I get the bright idea that I'm going to call the embassy. And I'm like, all right. So I call the embassy. I'm like, hey, yeah, so look, I'm at this police station. They're trying to take money off of me. And they're like, well, what happened? I'm like, well, they pulled us over to checkpoint, and there was weed in the car. I think they put it there. And they're like, well, did they drug test you? And I was like, yeah. I'm like, well, did you fail it? I was like, yeah. And they're like, well, you broke Thai law, bro. We can't help you.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, oh. I'm like, wait. They're like, yeah, we can't do anything to help. I'm sorry. Like, but we'll monitor this case. I'm like, oh God. All right, looks like I gotta wait for this money to get here. 5 minutes later, I get off the phone. 5 minutes later, the phone rings at the police station. The U.S. Embassy is calling the police station to say, hey, by the way, this case is being monitored now. So.
Oh, no shit. Yeah.
Yeah, so guess what? That $300 that was on the way?
Yeah, doesn't matter.
That was probably going to pay for them to have a nice evening out and nice dinner and whatever, drinks, whatever they wanted. to all 6 or 7 cops that were in there. They don't get it anymore. They don't get it any. The whole fucking ordeal. They don't get any money in their pocket anymore because the U.S. Embassy is now monitoring the case of an American citizen being arrested in Thailand. How do you think they responded to that? Very upset. Very upset, and pushed me through the system and threw me into Klong Pem, a Thai drug prison. And not just Klong Pem, they put me in the drug block with lifers. Nobody else was in that entire 400-person block prison that had white skin other than me and half Chinese, half Thais that have lighter skin. Like, the only other foreigner in that entire 400-person block of this prison was an Iranian drug mule that couldn't speak English or Thai, and they didn't know what to do with him, so they just threw him in the drug block. Yeah.
Whoa.
So, yeah, I found my way into Thai drug prison.
That's wild, man.
Yeah, so that's how I got there. The whole story inside is absolutely absurd and just like a lot of wild stuff that, like, I mean, you can see Locked Up Abroad, you can see all the movies you want, but like a lot of that stuff is kind of embellished and Hollywooded up and just kind of nutty, you know. But I saw a lot of things that reinforced my discontent with Western society and really gave me a strong appreciation for their culture, because it was apparent within the prison.
Yeah, because you weren't there just for a night. You were there for...
Dude, I thought I was there for 3 days.
Yeah.
No. So they only let people out on Tuesdays and Fridays, right?
Accepting holidays.
Exactly. How many Buddhist holidays are there in a year? Almost as many weeks. So, I'm kidding. But there's a lot, and they happen a lot in Thailand. And when they happen, everything shuts down. One of the biggest complaints from expats is, I can't get alcohol today. Why? Because it's a Buddhist holiday. But there was a Buddhist holiday last week. So, you know, it just happens a lot.
Yeah.
Well, so I had 3 days, I thought. Somehow I forgot what day it was by day 2. I'm thinking I'm getting out, and they're like, no, I'm sitting there, I'm waiting, all the names being called, and for the names to be called, because I had seen it happen for 2 days. It didn't happen. I'm like looking at the sun, I'm like, it's about 2:30, like 3 o'clock. Why aren't their names being called? And I go ask the commandant, and he's like, oh, today holiday. I'm like, what? Yeah, today holiday, no release. I'm like, what? I'm supposed to get out today. And like, oh, no. Maybe Friday. I'm like, oh, okay, great. Okay, cool. Another 3 days. Awesome. This will be fun. Another 3 days. Can you imagine that? Like, I mean, I hadn't even explained the conditions or like what's going on. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just like, I spent 10 days there. I thought it was 3 days.
Yeah.
And then I thought it was going to be 6 days. And it ended up going all the way for 10 days.
Wow.
Yeah. Absurd. Like, it was just like holiday and then a break. And then like, thought it was another release day. And they were like, no, something else. And I'm like, when am I getting out of here? Like, am I being lied to? I don't know. You know? So like, it was pretty wild. But inside though, like, I mean, I'm writing a book about this.
Oh, cool.
I'm about halfway. I got about 7-8 chapters done. I'll probably write 2 or 3 more. But it's hard to even get people to understand the differences between like a different culture until you experience it, right? You can't. But to see how the prisoners moved and see within that prison system, it's like, all right, so you got you have blocks, right, of like 400 people, and each block has units, and in each unit there's about 100 people in each unit, right? And I think this block had 4 units, and each 100-person unit had a boss, which was a lifer who's in there for ever, and typically has, you know, they all have tattoos and all over their faces and stuff. they're in charge of those 100 people within that unit. It's their job to make sure everybody stays in line, etc. Within that 100-person unit, they're split up into groups, and each group has a leader, right? And you get your snacks, your tobacco, your toothpaste, your soap, everything rationed out each day with a 25-person group. And then your tasks of the day, you're organized. Everything, this all happens in the morning, right? And
this is managed by
the prisoners.
Wow.
This is the prisoners doing this. Like, what would happen in the U.S. if we had that much, like, just trust in people to manage yourselves as prisoners for lifelong sentences?
Wow.
Yeah. So like that was Thai drug prison. I mean, dude, like craziest. I mean, the food was great, better than most American Thai food. But I mean, like
The food in the prison?
yeah, I mean, big pot. I mean, I'm talking like big 10-gallon pots of like curry with chicken, foot and all, just like carrying them out each day. Like,
Wow.
but dude, it tasted amazing. It was great. You know. I mean, I stayed away from the pink one that looked a little weird and had like, I don't know, it looked like intestines. It's a beef broth soup that they put all the stomach and intestines and face particles and tail,
kind of
and
the discard.
all of it, right? Yeah, I
It's like a Brazilian facial.
Yeah, I stayed away from that one. I took the chicken feet out of my green curry, but you know, I mean, dude, like you're in an open air, like think like a
community basketball.
Yes, exactly, like a basketball court, right?
Okay.
Like a basketball
Just like a
court. You've been to
open-
Spots Park over on Wall? Been to Spots Park? Look, big open basketball court, concrete floor, big open, right?
Chain link
caged.
around and-
Caged.
yeah.
I haven't been to the one on Wall, but I've definitely
You
been
know what
to
a
the
basketball park.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I've
exactly.
played
So
at
you got the
them for
covering,
sure,
and then
yeah.
it's caged up,
Yeah.
basically, and not just like a chain link fence. They're I think like quarter to half-inch chain link, like fencing, but in a chain link fence.
Yeah.
And then it's double stacked.
So you're not going to snip it. You're
No,
not gonna-
and then
yeah.
the top has like up all the way up to the building where you might potentially try to work. There's razor wire, like of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
you know, and it's just you're in a cage, but there's
But you're
200
outside.
people, 200 people in a fucking cage outside in Thailand where it's like 90 degrees at night,
Yeah.
100% humidity. And a shit ton of mosquitoes. It's like they put the prison right next to the fucking
swamp.
The swamp, yeah.
Wow.
It's nuts. So, yeah, so you get rations of mosquito repellent, and it's a little packet.
Sure.
Wow.
So you pick the square inches on your body that you.
Yeah, and I
okay.
didn't know that the first day. I'm sitting here, and you lay out your pallet, and you get one little wool blanket.
You sleep
That's-
outside?
Oh yeah, it's outdoor on a concrete floor, a basketball gym, bro. That's the jail you're in.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I missed that part. I thought it was
this
like
is a 100
that was like
person unit.
the outside.
No, this is a
It's
100.
not the rec area. It's
No, the
like
rec area is cobblestone bricks that you play soccer on. If nobody fucks up, that like by the end of the day, my feet are like stubbed and shredded, and I love soccer. I played in college, like I love it, right? Like it's one of my favorite sports. I love it. So I didn't care. I'm playing. My feet are all bloody and stuff. That's the outside. The gym, I mean, the actual jail is where each 100 person unit is you're head to toe in a fucking.
You're
on
just
a basketball
sleeping
gym.
on the floor.
Yeah,
with
and
all
it's
the-
on
Outside.
the floor and outside 90 degrees, 100 degrees. If there's anything more than
So
100
there's no
degree humidity,
I am just
it's
fascinated
that.
by this. Not
And,
I mean
dude,
what? It's outdoor.
oh yeah,
There's no roof over your head.
no, there's a roof. It's a cage.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like you say that differently. It's
like-
not climate controlled.
No.
not at all.
And there's no walls. It's chain.
Not at
link
all. As
fences.
a matter of fact, the bathroom is one raised, elevated slab that has two holes. One's the shower side, one's the shit and piss side. No
Same-
wall between.
Same drain.
No, same drain. And then even weirder is like at the bottom of that concrete slab is this slightly raised and elevated spot that just had a bunch of stagnant water before they got into the shower and shit spot to rinse their feet. With all that stuff was just dripping down into that stagnant. I was like, what the? Anyways, so yeah, I mean, like it's literally like guys are in the shower. You're trying to piss or shit. There's no divider. Everybody's looking at you, and you got homie over here singing top 10 fucking Thai heartbreak song, and everybody else is singing with them, and I'm sitting there trying to freaking squat and shit, splashing and singing, and I'm just like, and everybody's looking at me, laughing because they know I'm never ever supposed to be there.
Right.
They're like, what the hell is this white? But everybody loved me because they knew I was a fighter and couldn't sleep. So I'm standing up and I'm like shadow boxing, and everybody wants to come over and spar and clinch, and so
Yeah.
No one messed with you.
Dude, when I got there, the commandant knew me. The guy who run that block knew me because I'd fought. Come to find out, he's friends with one of my Paulo Tosher. They're like buddies and know each other, but I didn't know that until after I had left. But like, I got there, and he calls me over after the first day, and I'm like sitting in line. I get kicked out of line because I'm getting special treatment apparently, and I felt terrible about it. But like people had gotten in trouble for stuff, and I tried to fall in line and like take my punishment and stuff, and they're taking me out of it. So the first day I'm in line, they call me up, and the head dudes. Remember, there's a guy for each block, right?
Yeah.
Then there's a head prisoner that's over all the blocks. Yeah, and this dude calls me up first day, and he's like,
The head of all the blocks.
yeah, and he's a prisoner.
Wow.
And he walks around with 2 lady boys all day. Yeah. So he calls me up, and he's like, what you do? And I was like, sep ganja, smoke weed. And he's like, what? And in Thai, like, liar. Like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing here? I was like, I don't know. And he's like, okay. And he calls 2 guys over, these 2 little dudes, right? And I knew what was going on. As soon as they walk up, I'm like, oh, these are my bodyguards. Sure enough, he put 2 guys on me and said, okay, wherever you go, Sanzo, you go play football, okay, can do. Go play football, can do. You want to go eat, can do. This guy, your friend, always. I'm like, okay. Next thing I know, I'm walking around trying to go. These dudes are watching and following me like hawks.
Whoa.
Yeah. Wild. Like, I'm like, what is going on? And I felt weird. Like,
Yeah.
I felt disconnected from the punishment that everybody else was living. And that's the first thing I started noticing is, like, weird under the eye, like, glares of, like, you fuck this dude. Like, why is he's here. Yeah. We're all suffering for our own mistakes. But look at this dude here. The commandant pulled down a, like, 40-year-old bag and was like, some way? Like, practice fighting. You want practice Muay Thai? Some way? Die. Some way. Kick bag, die. Like, die means you can, Like, kick bag, go ahead, yeah. And I'm sitting there training, and through a cage, I see this dude just sitting there looking at me.
Wow.
And I'm like, and then I make that realization, I'm like, oh, I wonder if he's, like, inspecting my technique. And then I'm like, no. He's pissed. He's pissed because he's watching my privileged ass over there train Muay Thai.
Yeah.
And like,
It's probably not too often that somebody's showing up in their block that's not a lifer.
Right.
And they don't have to see that juxtaposition.
Right. So that was
famous foreigner. Like, there's a lot that goes into that emotionally.
Yeah. They're like, oh, why is this dude here? So that was intense. That was an intense thing to deal with outside of just thinking I was going to get out.
Sure. Well, yeah. After like 3 or 4 like false starts on getting out, you start like questioning.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and then I knew
something.
something. Yeah. Well, and then visitation happened on day like 6 or 7, right? And I'm like, I don't know how the fuck am I getting out? And my name gets called visitation, right? I'm like, somebody's here to see me? I'm getting out.
Yeah.
I'm getting out. Yeah. And I go and you go through this cage door just like, you see on TV, but it's outdoor. No inside. It's outdoor. And, you go through this little cage, little hallway, outdoor hallway. And then you sit down and I'm like, what the hell? And I walk through this cage and the guard like points me to the seat and I sit down and I look up and across a little glass and cage and it's my ex-girlfriend. It's like Thai mafia. Yeah.
It's not expected.
No, unexpected. Very unexpected.
How does she know you're in
I
Thai
don't
prison?
know.
Wow.
I don't know.
You never
Like, to this
figured
day,
it
you
out.
don't know.
I still don't know. I've fantasized about, okay, one of the bosses must have said something to one of her friends and like, oh, this white, I don't know.
Yeah.
She found out I was there and
Wow.
she came to see me. and literally just to come and like be like, I could help you, but I'm not gonna.
Oh.
Just kind of confirm with her own eyes.
Just to
kinda
come and be like,
be
yeah,
spiteful.
motherfucker. She was like, no. She was like, yeah, this is what you get.
Oh, you are here. Oh,
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Well, because I left her because I found out what she did. She lied to me for months about being a freaking weapons trafficker. Like, I mean, she didn't traffic the weapons. She negotiated the deals and oversaw the deals, right? Like, they send a pretty girl.
She probably could have made one call and you would have been out immediately.
There were a lot of people that I interacted with in Thailand that could have made one call and disappeared my ass real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick. I don't know how I navigated that well enough to come out alive and talking about it on this podcast with you guys. But
Yeah. Wow.
yeah, so she showed up just to be like, oh, by the way.
She also probably she could have gotten you out, I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah, she could.
She could
I'm
have just
sure
been like,
she
let's
could
go.
have. I mean, dude, I found out what she was doing because the cops had just killed her brother in South Thailand.
Wow.
Who he was like a known heavy like weapons trafficker, bomb maker, like
Wow.
in South of Thailand's like a lot like more like what we consider terrorism. They're setting off small bombs and
Oh, wow.
a lot of stuff there, right? And he was really well known. Well, I wake up and she's crying one morning, like, what's going on? You know? And she's like, well, my brother, they killed my brother. I'm like, what? And then she comes clean. And she comes clean. Like, this is my brother. This is what he does. This is what I do. I've been lying to him. Like, I mean, I knew you were a gangster, but like, whoa, like you're actually in the middle of these things. And so I removed myself.
Yeah.
And it, you know, it upset her big time. But like, I mean, like, what was I gonna do? Like, you know, I didn't want to be in that situation.
Sure.
So yeah, she
could have
showed
come in
up.
handy in this moment, but
Yeah, like, well, I mean, we could have stayed friends. But yeah,
Didn't want it to go to that level. You
Yeah,
wanted to stay-
so I
so a
finally
brief
it
conversation
amicable.
probably.
a
She's
brief, a
just
very
like-
brief, like, look at me, smile, cry a little bit, act like she cares a little bit, and then be like, okay, bye. By the way, when you get out, if you want real work, call me. You know, that's what she said to me. Like, she's like, you want to do? You think you gangster now? You want to do? You call me after, okay? Like, you know, that type of conversation. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, like, just get me out of here.
It's like, yeah, no, this isn't the trappings of aspiration.
Yeah, no. So I got out. I eventually got out at day 10 after 2 more episodes of I'm getting out. Shit, no, I'm not getting out, you know?
Yeah.
And get out, and my gym boss is like, okay, Sanzo. Because I had a choice. It was either stay in Thailand and do a 6-month probationary period or go back home and have a 5-year ban.
Wow.
So I was like, okay. And Bo was gracious enough to be like, all right, Sanzo, work now. You know, just fight. Just focus and fight. I'm like, okay. You know, because I didn't want to not be able to come back. So I did that 6 months of, you know, probation and fought and had some of my best fights. And then, you know, then got kicked out of Thailand for overstay.
Oh, really?
I mean, it was on some stuff with the whole, it's like I got out. They were like, you have 6 months. And at like month 5, immigration police come up on me and they're like, let me see your passport. And I'm like, okay, well, here's my passport. But here's this piece of paper that says that
I got to be here.
I have
serve
to
my
be
time.
here before I renew my visa. And he's like, let me see your visa, overstay, you come. I'm like, no, look. And he's like, this little paper, this little police, me big police. I don't care. You come, you go home. I'm like, what the fuck? And sure enough, so I spent 3 days in immigration detention center and then got sent out. Immigration detention center might have been worse than the prison, actually.
Was it outside?
No, it was inside in a room like this with 20 people.
Oh,
Head to
wow.
toe. Yeah, head to toe.
Good hell.
Yeah, so I had a fun time in Thailand.
Oh my gosh. So find your way home and
Finally get home, and when I get home, that's when I started diving into the throwing events and getting back into the music festival stuff that I had done before I had moved
Right.
to Thailand, and
Right.
you know, and that's when Selfish Heart started.
It's a wild story, man. Thanks for sharing it. It's something else. Really is.
Yeah, this might be 3 episodes. I don't know.
This is beyond fascinating.
Yeah, this was a ton of fun, man. I appreciate you taking the time. This is super cool. This
Yeah,
is,
dude, I mean, look, like,
Thank you
guys
for
said.
sharing your
Well,
experience.
yeah, I mean, dude, vulnerability and being open, like I'm all for it. Like I don't have anything to hide from anybody, but the the thing is like the curiosity that you guys talk about, it's like it's not always gonna end the way you want or think, right?
Sure.
But as long as you take those experiences and you learn and grow from it, that's what matters. So
Well, at the end of every episode,
Yep.
we love
You gotta-
to ask a question.
Uh-huh.
We've covered a lot today.
We have.
It's been a
I don't know that I can have any more answers for you guys.
It's been a really
No,
beautiful.
this is a question for the audience.
Let's get
This
it.
is
Let's
a
get
question that we don't answer.
Oh, okay. A question? I like it.
And so I kind of want to go with, how are you watering the colors of your mind?
Are you asking me to answer?
No, this is
I like
This
it.
is the question that
are
we leave the
are we in
audience.
We're leaving the
agreement
audience with-
Yeah, that's the
it?
question.
We could reject Brad's proposal.
No,
if we wanted
dude.
on the question.
Stand up. Let's see the shirt again.
Okay.
Stand up.
We're just gonna, here we go.
Remember to water your mind and grow at your own pace. Yo, dude, see, this is the fine print that people don't see.
Grow at your own pace.
There it is.
Okay, so then let's. Okay, then you know what? Let's
Did
iterate.
you make up the water, the colors of your mind?
This is from Change. This came from
Yeah,
the
no,
brand
no,
Change.
no. I know, but the shirt says "water your mind."
Yeah. Water
Macro dose.
the colors of your mind is
Does it say the colors? No, because that's what I'm asking. The
No.
colors is
That's my rendition.
got it.
Okay, so the question to the audience is how are you watering your mind? Or the
So-
colors of your mind?
Well, we're creating it in real time right now. So I think we build on it and we iterate based on the rapid feedback I'm getting here. and we say, how will you water the colors of your mind and grow at your own pace?
Now, the grow at your own pace thing just happens if you water your mind.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the outcome.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the
So final question is,
how
how
you going?
are you going to water the colors of your mind?
I like it.
Or, more simply said, how are you watering your mind?
I like it.
All right.
Cool.
I'm going to
Nice.
think about that question when
Yeah.
I leave here.
Yeah.
How are you how are we all watering our mind? But to each guest, or the guest and to the audience,
Yep.
how are you watering your mind?
I like it.
That's it.
This has been a lot of fun, guys.
This has been amazing.
Thanks for having me.
Love it. Thanks, Greg.
This might be the longest I've sat and talked with anybody in a podcast ever.
I love it.
We're all for breaking records.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Boom.
All right.
Boom.
Gotta give us a boom.
Oh, boom.
Yeah.
Onward.